Turning to our top story, and the Met Police has launched an investigation into the Downing Street parties, whilst MPs await findings of an internal investigation that could be released as early as today, we think.
Shadow Attorney General Emily Thornberry joins us now. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
He could be the first Prime Minister investigated under caution. What should he be investigated for?
I think he could be the first Prime Minister investigated under caution, and I think he could be the first Prime Minister for, I don't know how long, who had to leave office because of personally being brought into disgrace. What was your question?
Well, what should he be investigated for? Because we spoke to a former Metropolitan Police officer a little bit earlier on the programme who said, look, you know, it's a breach of the rules that could result in a fixed penalty notice. It's equivalent to a parking fine. And then a barrister responded by saying, actually, this could escalate to an investigation into misconduct in a public office. And I think a lot of the people who look at the rules think there's something more serious about the person who wrote them, breaking them. I'm asking, Labour asking the Met to investigate whether he committed misconduct in a public office.
It's difficult because I think that there is supposed to be a wall between police officers who investigate, and we're not really there to give them instructions as to what they should be doing. You know, there has to be a certain freedom of action, but obviously, I can put it this way: there are a range of offences that, on the face of it, they could investigate, and that would include the more serious ones that could go to the Crown Court, which would be, which is misconduct in a public office, and obviously that is serious. But I think for many people, I think that it's not just about a piece of cake. It's not just about, you know, being,
ambushed
pieces of cake creeping up on him and ambushing him. It's not about that. What it is about is, remember how this started, as far as we know. You know, he went into Parliament, and somebody was about to resign for even mentioning that there had been parties, right, and laughing about it. She resigned, Allegra Stratton resigned. He didn't stop her doing that. Went into Parliament and he said, I'm furious. I understand that, you know, there may have been things going on at Number 10. There may have been a party. I'm told that no rules were broken, but I'm having an investigation into it. A party. Rules might have been broken. I've been told they haven't. And then, you know, just within a few weeks, we see, 18 different parties are supposed to have happened? He's
to be fair, it's only 17 at this stage.
Oh, sorry, I don't want
Is there one that you know about that you haven't told us?
7 or 8 that he's supposed to have gone to?
Well, funnily enough,
it's the lies, Susanna. It's the lies. It's the taking the public for fools. It's looking them in the eye through the camera and just lying to them and expecting them to just.
And there are calls on the backbenches of the Tory party for Keir Starmer also to be investigated because, of course, he was photographed in a constituency office having a beer under the same lockdown rules.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's desperate.
Is it one rule for the Conservative government and another rule for the Labour opposition?
The point is they are desperate. They are desperately flailing around for anything. They have got a photograph of Keir at work, where he went to a constituency office. He was doing local elections. He had done some big meetings on Zoom with people. He stopped. He had, you know, something to eat and a beer, and then he went back to the work again. I tell you what, if you look at the hundreds of thousands of people who have been prosecuted up and down the country, and I'm quite sure the Daily Mail have combed through it very carefully, they have not found someone in Keir's position who's been prosecuted. Why not? Because it isn't an offence. It isn't an offence to eat. The offence is to have, you know, gather everybody who happens to be up in the office, get the decorator and the wife and the dog and everything else, and bring a cake, sing happy birthday.
But
that's a party. That's different.
How voters are losing faith in politicians? We do get people saying, I don't trust any of them anymore. Because what is the difference between someone having a beer and someone having a slice of birthday cake?
Well, the point is the lies. The point is repeated breaches of the rules. The point is believing that you are above the law. The point is believing you're somehow, I don't know, Julius Caesar or something, a god walking amongst us to whom the rules don't apply. You know, it applies to the Queen, it applies to nurses, it applies to you, and it applies to me, and it applies to the Prime Minister and all his mates. So, it does.
So what exactly are you asking for, then? What do you want to happen? Do you just want Boris Johnson to resign and that's it, and we can just carry on?
So I think The first and most pressing issue is the future of the Prime Minister. I think he should resign.
Okay.
I think he should have resigned a long time ago,
Okay.
frankly.
Now what about all
one.
the... What about all the civil service staff? Should they all lose their jobs? All those that any of their names, should they lose their jobs?
So I think the next stage is, I think the most important thing, let's separate these things out. The Prime Minister is supposed to lead us at a time of great crisis. We need to be able to move on in terms of dealing with the cost of living crisis. They have no plan for that. We have plans, but they have none. There's obviously the potential war in Ukraine. You know, these are things we need leadership for.
Sure.
So he is inadequate and unable to do that job because people don't trust him, they don't believe him.
What about
he
the
can't
civil
lead.
service staff?
Civil service is a different issue.
And what about his team?
Yeah, hang on. I am coming there. I just need to deal with it logically.
How much time we've got?
Sorry.
Yep.
Obviously, the investigation of Sue Gray is important in relation to what should happen to civil servants and what it is that they've done. We ought to find out what it is that they say. We also need to look at the Metropolitan Police investigation. But the Prime Minister today should be resigning, and if he doesn't resign, then Tory MP should do the right thing and get rid of him.
But what about his cabinet, who've supported him all the way through, who defended him? You're happy that if he goes, then what about all of them? Should not they go too, or should they? One of them could easily be Prime Minister.
I don't think that the public are going to forgive this. I think that they have seen day after day, lie after lie, these, cabinet ministers and senior Tory MPs being wheeled out to come up with the most ridiculous excuses and again to take the public for fools. The public won't forget, and it will be for them to make a decision and to make their judgment at a later date.
All right, Emily Thornberry, thanks very much indeed.
Not at all.